What's in your combat patrol?
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and today we're going to unbox and build a new Ork combat patrol that really seems to have hobbyists kind of divided over it, I suppose, especially Ork hobbyists. So anyways, it's $140 retail. Of course, you can get your hobbies for less from dicehead.com, Amazon, or of course, hopefully, your local game store. But you know, this box, we've seen that Ork combat patrol, all the combat patrols come out so far, and basically it's an expansion on the old Get Started box, right? And what it does is it basically gives you the same value as the Getting Started box, but the price point is, you know, roughly 60, well, I would say more like $50 to $60 more, because some of them were 85, then it went up to 95, then some of them were 100. But anyways, these are all $140. Well, for the meantime, I imagine at some point Games Workshop's going to raise the price before we even get all the combat patrols for all 23, 24 factions of 40k. But hey, this is more about what comes in here and the value inside of it. So as you can see on the back, you're going to get a squad of the Death Copters, which previously were only available back in the Black Reach box from, I want to say 2005. I might be a little off there. A brand new War Boss with a little squig duder on top. The Death Dread that came out roughly 2007, 2008. Also, if I recall correctly, and 2 sets of 10 for a total of 20 of the new Ork Boys, which kind of is where the problem starts for a lot of Ork hobbyists, because they're like, hey, you know, you only get what's shown here. So I think it's like 3 shooters, 6 slugga-choppas, a special weapon, a knob, and that's it. You can't take all slugga-choppas, you can't take all shooters, and if you want to get a bunch of these, you're not even going to be able to have 30 Ork Boys, because you're going to be stuck with a knob at the end. Which I can't remember when I did my 120 Orks out of the existing kit, which, remember, the existing kit, multi-part kit, is still available. They redid the box, it's got the new art for 9th edition. It's probably going to still be available for a while if you want that modularity and that multi-partness, because remember, besides this guy right here, these are all push fit. You know, and I guess that's where a lot of the issue comes from, because people are divided on push fit. Me personally, having put together 120 Ork Boys 10, 15, 12 years ago, I don't even remember, it was excruciating. It was a lot of work. And had they had a push fit option, I would have been super happy. But I wouldn't have been super happy because, you know, I needed exactly 120 Ork Boys in the way I wanted. I think it was 4 squads of 30 at the time. I did end up having a few extra knobs, but I probably wouldn't... I don't know if picking up these ETB boxes would have been a better cost savings. It probably would have been a better time savings putting them together for ETB. But anyways, let's take a look at what we think this box set is worth. Of course, it's $140. We all know that. The 20 Ork Boys inside are probably going to be worth $100 based on the Beast Snagga Boys, which are clocking in at $50 for a set of 10. We assume the Death Copters are going to be $60. Because, I mean, if you look up the old ones from Black Reach, they're actually going, I think the last time I saw, for $25 each. So it kind of makes sense that even though they're push fit, that they would go for so much, because they're on par with the Outrider bikes and some of the Necron stuff that came out. And of course, some of the new Age of Sigmar kits for the Oruk, the Cruel Boys, and also the Stormcast stuff that's clocking in around the same prices. So kind of makes sense. It doesn't seem so at first, but it's not like, they're going to sell this separately, probably for $60. Might be $50, either way. The Death Dread is $55. We know that. That's pretty standard there. And the War Boss and Mega Armor probably going to go for $45. We saw Zagrid come out retail price at $40, which was a little high on the high side. You know, they were going for $35, but it seems GW is already pushing up the special character envelope, because we know we only need one of them, and we're probably only going to buy that once, so they can't get us for like multiples of each, you know, character, because we're not going to need multiples of Zagrids. Maybe we'll need a multiple of a War Boss, but chances are not everybody's going to buy 2 of these. There isn't a whole lot of modularity there. So at the end of the day, total suggested retail price, most likely $260, giving you a total value of $120. But is that going to be something that's going to be available in the near future? We still haven't seen all the push fit Slaves to Darkness, aka Chaos Warriors, come out from their I guess start collecting, which is, you know, the Combat Patrol equivalent in Age of Sigmar that we haven't seen yet. So those kits still are not available yet, and that came out in January of 2020. So who knows when we'll actually see these orcs again. Remember, you can still get the multi-part kit boys still out there from Games Workshop. So who knows? Either way, this set probably has value, and I think, you know, we're going to talk about it a little bit more as we unbox and build it too. Back to the Combat Patrol itself. So it's a pretty chunky box, to be quite honest. Like, it's got all sorts of stuff going on in here. You've got the instruction manual, and then once you get inside, you're going to see all the individual sprue sets here, including the existing stuff that we already know about, like the Death Dread, and then all of the other kits. So let's take a look at the instruction manual, and then each one of these kits separately. So first up, you can see that there is the sprue layouts here. You're going to get 2 sets of the boys right here, but everything else is not duplicated. Each one of the Death Copters looks to be self-contained on its own sprue, and then the Death Dread is 3 sprues. We kind of knew that. I imagine these are for the Death Copters, and they have a little slit in there, a little slot base. This guy's multi-part, you got to glue them together, so he's not going to have any holes, and then everybody else is going to be able to stick right into these guys right here. So taking a look at the Warboss and Mega Armor, he's going to have a lot of interior cavities right there, but it does look like it pushes together. A lot of folks like to clip the nubs out and then just literally glue it together because they feel like they get a better seal. So we'll kind of see how that goes right there. His arm joints and things go on separately. It's kind of doing that clamshell thing where you build up the body and then you put the stuff on around it, and then finally he has his little weapon on the front there, as well as his back exhaust / banner pole. And then we're gonna get into the boys, and the boys only have 2 different options. You can build the Warboss 2 different ways, and you can also build the special weapon 2 different ways, which they're gonna show you right here. So you can either get a rocket or a big shooter, but that's it. Everybody else is locked into the pose. As you can see, it's all that slice and dice thing. Sometimes the arms separate, yeah, so sometimes the arm's separate, sometimes there's nothing separate that makes any sense, like that the head is attached to the arm right here, and so on and so forth. Kind of like the assemblies we saw for things like Warhammer Underworlds or some of the special edition, you know, Marines and things that were from overseas. There's that guy. And then the Death Copters are going to be that hollow cavity in the middle. Not a whole lot of parts to put on them, just a left and right half. And then the arms look like they go on there in a head, or looks like you can have it different. Oh, these are the yokes. So you can have a yoke, or you can have a yoke and him throw in a stick bomb. Or this guy has a different pose. It looks like they're both arms on the controls. Okay, so kind of cool. It looks like that's got the arms on the yokes right there, and then the prop actually goes together, and there's a little terrain piece that slots into there, and then the nub for the little tree and things go into that. So it's actually pretty cleverly designed that you shouldn't see any gaps, and with a little luck, we can probably leave this just so it kind of free spins a little bit, but not exactly like, you know, loose or anything. This one's gonna have some extra parts here, like an armor cowl on the front. That's kind of cool to see. And then you've got some of these bits here. It looks like there's the bomb that they had back in the day, and there it is. And one of these had a flamer on it too. I guess it was the one in the front. There it is right there, the one in the front. And then it goes into the Death Dread instructions, but we've seen that. That's been out for a number of years. We don't really need to get into that. And then it shows you the models themselves assembled and painted on the back. And then there's the IKEA style data sheet, or war scroll card rather. Oh no, that's a data sheet. I can't. It all sounds the same after a while. So let's take a closer look at the sprues. Now, after looking at this, I gotta admit, this Warboss is pretty cool. Like, even though it is push fit and it doesn't have a lot of weapon options or modularity, he's still pretty dope. And it's 2 of the larger character sprues that we've seen. So I suspect this guy might actually go for $40 for sure. That's why we put it at $45. But I could see them trying to put this at $50 as well. But I mean, it's got a nice, that's a solid like 2 inches, maybe 2 1/4 of that weapon haft right there. So he is a chunky boy for sure. And then this little duder here. I didn't actually expect this to be part of this guy here. So it looks like you actually squish this guy together push fit wise. So it's pretty ingenious. It's going to be really interesting to see kind of how this all looks when it's actually up and assembled. I'm not going to show you the dread, really take a look at the Def Dread, but the Def Dread is just the three pieces here. And if you're an Ork player, you probably already have one or two of these. As far as the Def Copters go, these things are pretty cool, and it does look like each one of them is self-contained on its own sprue right here. So you're going to have the terrain rubble pile that the whatever little thing that it's supposedly supporting itself on plugs into right here, and then that itself slots into those bases, those ovals, and then there's the bomb. I forget what the bomb's called, but I always remember converting one up back in the day. And then this is the prop that goes together. Oh, and it's got a little nub there, so you put that on top of the other one, and then I guess it goes on top here, and with a little luck, like I said, hopefully they spin. I wanted to look at so it doesn't look like, so there's his feet, and he's got 1, 2, so he doesn't have a lot of options there, so that guy's gonna all look the same. But of course, this is Orks. You can convert all this stuff, it doesn't matter when it comes to that. I'm gonna snap this one off and take a closer look at him. So basically the same configuration. He has only 2 different arms right there as well, so no real modularity there. It's gonna go together the way it goes together. And then this guy, I thought I saw like a yoke option. Maybe not. Maybe I am just on crack. So this guy has arms that are going to only go on one way as well. So they are all self-contained. So that's kind of cool to see that they did it that way. And then the boys sprue, there's going to be 2 of these in there, and there's a lot of parts. So let's take a look at this. So it looks like the knob upgrades, and there's clearly the knob. He's got a claw, or he's got this. I guess it's a big chopper, and then you've got the other options. I like the shooter right there with all the rounds coming out of it. There's your rocket, and there's your big shooter as well. So not a whole lot that you can do with these, and I'm sure it's going to take a hot minute to go through and pick them all out and glue them together. Oh, and I noticed too, on the special weapons, they have a little ammo piece. There's the rocket one, and there's one with ammo. There's the ammo one. So not only, and it looks like it plugs into right there. So depending on which one you use, you put a couple extra ammos right there on his butt. That kind of really adds to the dynamic flair and feel to that particular model. So that's kind of cool. So putting them together is actually pretty much a snap. It takes longer to clip them all out. And kind of, push fit them together and make sure that, you didn't miss any nubs or any little, like mold lines or anything that would restrict the pieces from going together. And other than that, I mean, they go together wonderfully. Like, I was really worried about this kind of push fit thing, but I mean, it's kind of amazing to think that this guy is basically sliced down the middle right here, and you can't barely even tell once you get it assembled here. Now this guy is pretty chunky. He's on a 50 mil, and compared to like a Primaris Space Marine, well, it definitely shows once you see it out there. So he's got the length and the girth on that guy for sure. And look at that, that's just pretty nuts. So I think Games Workshop, when it comes to design, they are still, they're still up there. They're still the best when it comes to the things they do. It's just amazing what they can do. But it's the things like this where they kind of pigeonhole you into certain builds and maybe give you some configurations that you wouldn't be normally too happy with, that I can see where hobbyists are going to get a bit upset. But these new poses of these orcs are pretty much everything I think orc players really wanted. Like, they're dynamic, they got the right statue, they don't look stupid. I mean, not that the last ones look stupid, but they were just missing like a certain, I don't know why, like they just weren't there. But then these guys are everything an orc really should be. And then here's the modular guy, so he'll either have a big shooter or the rocket launcher, and then like I said, you just push fit the little ammo pouch right there into his butt, and well, that's pretty much it. So there's 10 of these guys, and like I said, they come in a little weird configuration because you're gonna get some of the shooters, some of the chopper sluggers right here. You're gonna get the special weapon, and it doesn't seem like it comes in a configuration to anybody's pleasing. But if you're a current Ork player, it kind of, you know, you can mix them in with your squads. You can do all sorts of things. Because, I mean, look at that knob. Like, wouldn't you want this knob in your squad? I can see where some people are upset, but they're just so dynamic. It's so cool looking that I think newer players, they're not going to care. And older players, you know, you can pick up one of these and kind of mix and match it in. Or you can just be angry and not buy it at all, you know. But I feel like at that point, if you're so angry over the hobby, maybe it's time for a new hobby. Because, like I said, there's the good and there's the bad when it comes to these. But I think overall, the good might kind of balance it all out because these are dope minis. And, you know, you might have to do a little finagling to get the options you want. But it's nice to have those build options, at least in general. And then there's how it kind of matches up to a Space Marine, primary Space Marine. So definitely about the size that we would expect from these. And so let's talk about the Def Copters. Like, these are great. I really think these are the best Def Copters they've done, even though they're only the second Def Copters they've done. But they got a lot going on. They're very sturdy on their bases, even though this isn't even glued down, believe it or not. Like, I mean, it's got a lot of strength right there. You can rotate the prop blade, which is pretty neat. You know, if you don't glue it down, you can kind of do some really cool things there and definitely paint that separate. And then when it comes to, you know, a Primaris Space Marine, let's zoom out just a little bit to get this all in the frame. When it comes to a Primaris Space Marine, you know, it is about the size you would expect, which is really, really cool. So, and then you've got the rockets in the front, and these other two are pretty styling with the more rockets in the front. All of this is pushed together, nothing is glued down. And then this one here, I love the little prop blaster thruster right there. And you've got the combi scorcher, I guess, and some sort of big bomb, buzz bomb. I forget what they called that one, but I think I used to take that back in the day. But either way, here they are, and they're pretty cool looking. I like these little missiles on this, and all of them can kind of free rotate. The only thing that really doesn't do any sort of movement is the war boss. Unfortunately, he's just kind of static. You can't really do much with him. But I can see where a lot of people are gonna paint him up all sorts of different ways in the coming days, months, and weeks and months for sure. So overall, I think, you know, the Combat Patrol is a pretty interesting offering from Games Workshop. But I think that, you know, some players are definitely going to be still a little bit upset about this. But again, I think the value is there when it comes to building up your army. So I could see where they're going to definitely sell a lot of these, and having those cool options in there, like the Def Dreads, and then of course the Mega Boss, definitely might entice quite a few new players to get into Orks. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching our unboxing build of the new Ork Combat Patrol. Talked a little bit about value, a little bit about the issues that people have with this box, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like we always say, vote with your hobby dollars. But don't forget, you can always get your hobbies for less at dicehead.com, Amazon, or hopefully your local game store. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos. I know. Okay. We're talking about Orks. All right.